Naturally, the most commonly asked question about Sorare is how do you go about making any money on it? What if I told you that you don't need to win any rewards, you don't need to be finishing high up the league tables, what you do need to do is know how to identify a bargain, snap them up and get them shipped off for profit. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some of the tips and tricks on how I do just that. Alright, first things first, we're going to land at the mecca of research for Sorare, and that goes across football, basketball and baseball. This is Soraredata. If you don't know about this website, soraredata.com. Guarantee if you check it out, you'll get some good from it. When I'm trying to identify a bargain, the first place I'm going to go is into the scouting section. Sometimes you can go to the player rankings and have a little look at the players. So for example, we might come over here, have a look maybe in the Asia region. We might be looking for a midfielder. We can select how many games they played in the last 15, so you might want to leave that at around 7. It will kind of filter out those players that don't get much game time. And then you can go filter, and it puts them in order. So at the moment, these are the top performing midfielders. I think it by default sets them in the last 15. But if you click here, you can go by L40, L15, and L5. So you can stick them in order. You can have a little look at what their value is down here, and it gives you a rough idea of what you're looking to be paying for these players. You can also click here to show the floor price, which is really useful because you can see what people are listing them for right now. So straight away we can see that a player like Romulo, who is the current top performing midfielder in the Asia region, his recent average is at 0.86 ETH, and his floor is currently at 0.68. So already we can spot a little bit of a bargain there. So that's all good if you got a few grand lying about, but let's get into the card finder and see where the real bargains are at. If we head into card finder, we can start using all these search parameters to find a player that kind of fits the needs that we're looking for. Let's look for a defender. Playing status, let's go for a starter. Pick out someone who has been starting games of late. League, we are just going to go for America, and that will pick up anyone who is eligible for that region. Age, you can use a slider here. If you're looking for an under 23, you can click that button there. Let's just say we don't want anyone over 30. We're trying to get a player with a bit of utility about them. Maybe you don't want to pick up an old player. I'm going to have a look at players who have a good L40 average. So maybe a score average over 50. I'm going to use L5 to put players who've got an L5 under 50. What that means is it will show me all the players that are kind of currently underperforming in their form. And then we can use some of the card filters to filter out whether we want a limited or a rare. We'll stick with limited for now. We're obviously looking for defender, so we'll keep that one highlighted. To keep it simple, we'll look at prices by dollar. Filter by floor price, so you can set your minimum, maximum. Let's try and identify players that are under $10. Card is on sale, we'll click that one. Current price is floor. That will also eradicate anyone who is more expensive, because otherwise you'll get multiple versions of the same player all listed at different prices. You only want to see the cheapest one usually. Let's sort by the L15 average descending, so that'll put them in order for a decent average. But hopefully we can just see players who are maybe currently out of form. It's only given us one result so far. Benvenuto. We obviously need to change some of these here. L15 under. Let's go under 48. And an L40 over 50. Defenders, $10. Let's hit that filter again and see if we get any better on the results. 2. I thought we'd be doing better than this. Disclaimer, we're about to start looking at some actual players. Do not take any of this as gospel. I'm just showing you how it's done, how to identify some of these potential bargains. Some of these players might be pants. Let's have a look at them though. This looks like a potential bargain straight away. Marlon, let's have a look at his scores. He's putting up some decent scores. For cap mode, this is great because we can see that he's got a decisive in him. He's obviously hit a decent score there and there. And that's an all-around score as well, which is nice to see that he can hit those scores without getting a decisive. On average though, puts up some decent scores, doesn't seem to miss too many games, and you can pick him up nice and cheaply. Let's put it into dollars. We can see that its last sale was $4.64. So even though he is listed above $5, you could probably put in a cheeky offer at around $5. If we zoom out a bit, we can see that he's been as expensive as $16 at a time. I think the Brazilian League doesn't start until around April usually, so there is a chance that his price could drop a bit further down than here. But if we look at where that dotted line is, he is selling well below a lot of his average sales over the last year. Obviously, as supply changes and stuff like that, his price might go up and down if there's a lot of people buying him or there's new mints in the market. But you're picking up essentially a card here with an 11% bonus, which is great in limited. That's very important. And if we can get him for under a $5, I think that is a bargain. So that's pretty much it. Very simple, very easy. And yeah, you can mess about with these averages a little bit more. Maybe if we take starter off for now, we might get some more options and just see some players who have played some games perhaps. That's just giving us another 7 there. A lot of players there that are falling in under $5, which is great as well. Look, we've got a $3.15 here. Matias de los Santos, who is playing for Vélez, who are a pretty good side. So if he can get in amongst the starting lineup, he will definitely be a bargain in my opinion. Let's have a little look at his scores. I mean, there you go. We've got some nice green scores there. Plays as a centre-back for one of the better teams in the Argentinian division. He could be a great pickup. Very cheap. And let's see if we zoom out on his price. We will get a chance to see, if we're buying him at the right time. Year to date, he's right down there. Look at that. He's pretty much floored out. The only thing I will consider now is a little Google search on him. So a little search in Transfermarkt on Matias de los Santos. We can see he's still at Vélez. He plays as a centre-back. He can play either side as a centre-back and occasionally at right-back and a defensive mid. And if we go back to his Sorare scoring, we can see some nice scores there. A few DMPs here and there. Picks up the odd yellow card as you can expect from a centre-back. But a decent scorer who is capable of hitting the big greens, playing at one of the better sides in Argentina, who should be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. So he's definitely worth a look. His floor price is $3.18. And you could expect that to rise with a few decent performances. Always important to note that you can't just go off the stats. If you can get your eyes on these players and keep an eye on what they're doing in and out of the team, then you'll have a little bit of a better understanding of whether or not they're actually a good purchase. So the last thing you want to do is pick up a bargain who's actually been shipped off to a league that is not covered by Sorare. And that does happen. So the more digging you do, the more chance you have of making sure that you can lock in some profit. I hope you picked up some good ideas from this video. If you've got any other ideas, please do share them in the comments. I'd love to hear how you guys get on when you're scouting for those bargains yourself. Any other ways and means that I don't know about perhaps, I'd love to hear them.